She accepted a proposal so fast, the man hadn't even said I love you yet. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Bridgerton. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to know that I have a huge sale on my website right now where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now and also these right here. Make sure you click that link down below or check out the QR code. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. I know I'm being very critical, but I can't express enough how I absolutely do not care about anything, any storyline outside of the main one. The only reason why I'm talking about Kate and Anthony and Francesca, Kilmartin, all of them, is because they are the Bridgertons. Outside of that, none, I'm telling you, none of these storylines, none of them are interesting. I barely made it through part 2. That's why my review is up a little later than what I had planned. I could barely get through it, especially the last couple episodes. Not only were they boring, but the big reveals and everything was so underwhelming, especially after 3 seasons of build up of Lady Whistledown. The way all of that was revealed, I was so disappointed and disgusted. And if I had not already agreed to review this show, I probably would not have even finished it. I heard there were different writers. They need to get back the original writers. Yeah, because this fell flat. Whoever y'all got to write Queen Charlotte, y'all need to get that on Bridgerton ASAP. As far as casting, writing, everything. Because I don't know what this was. I guess I'll get the little side stories out of the way. Kate came back from the honeymoon pregnant. They were trying to discuss whether or not they were going to announce the pregnancy at the engagement party. And they ended up doing it, and I would have been mad. Like, that is so tacky. They also decided that they're going to move back to her home country. He wants to make sure that their children know her side of the family as well as his, and I thought that's cute. Then we have Francesca and Lord Kilmartin. He's a little weird, but so is Francesca, okay? So they make a good couple. He goes ahead and proposes to her, and they're afraid to announce it because the queen wanted to hook Francesca up with her prospect for her, and she's not interested. And they wanted the mother to talk to the queen about that, but the mother didn't because she low-key wanted Francesca to be with that man too, or she really don't want her to be with Kilmartin. They decided to go out on a limb and declare themselves by dancing. I'm like, the men were hyping him up to do something grand, and what they decided to do was dance together. She decided that once he proposed that she wanted to move to Scotland with him after marrying, and that's exactly what they decided to go ahead and do. They had a small ceremony accepting their relationship, and Eloise decided that she wanted to stay with her for the summer or however long in order to, I guess, experience life outside of where they live. Blah. Then we have the storyline of Mama, who I'm gonna call Kris Kardashian, okay? Pretty much catching her second win with Lady Danbury's brother. Lady Danbury is not happy about that. She's trying to do everything she can to block that. She keeps pushing different women on her brother, trying to get in between them. And the main reason why she is trying to block the relationship is because she has this beef with her brother from years ago. She tried to escape marrying that old coot she married. Okay, if y'all haven't seen Queen Charlotte, y'all need to see this man, okay, that her parents set her up with. She tried to escape marrying this man and almost got away with it if it wasn't for her brother. And at first I was mad at the brother too. I'm like, how you gonna expose your sister like that? You know she wasn't gonna be happy with this man. At the same time, he said I was 10 years old. I'm like, come on, lady. You really holding a grudge with a 10-year-old? You can't even as a grown woman look back and see the perspective of a child. he thought he was doing the right thing. And also he was scared of his dad. So I'm just like, I'm glad y'all got this beef out of the way, but you are very petty for holding it in the first place. And so after they got over that, she was okay with Mother Bridgerton liking her brother. Once again, all of that fell flat. So then we have Cressida, very much like Lady Danbury. She has been promised to this crusty old man, okay? Not only is he real strict, but he doesn't believe in going to balls or music. So if she does marry him, she is going to pretty much be a prisoner in her own home. She really has no say in all of that. Stick a pin in that. We're going to come back to it. Next thing you know, we see Penelope and Colin. First of all, like I said, Penelope is squoze to the high heavens, okay? Every time we see her, she look like she cannot breathe. She look like she is just stuffed in whatever dress. I wish they would just ease up a little bit and give her some breathing room, because it just looks like it hurts to wear her dresses at this point. The same way he literally professed his love in the same night after friend zoning her the entire time and saying how he didn't want to be with her. He told people behind her back. He said it to her face. All of that. All of a sudden, the night before, he professed his love to her. They did the nasty in the carriage. He proposed. All of this in one night. The next day, they dropped this bomb on his household. I just don't understand how, yes, people were questioning it. They were definitely questioning it. But everybody just went along with it. The only person that had a problem with it was Eloise, and that's because her and Penelope had fell out a long time ago. But everybody else was like, oh. Now, yes, they've known Penelope forever. I get it. But y'all are not even going to question, where did this relationship come from? The brothers halfway did. They were like, okay, I didn't know nothing about this. But I just felt like all of that was very unrealistic. Like, this literally happened overnight. Like I said, Eloise was the only one big mad about this. She feels that Penelope possibly was only friends with her in order to get closer to her brother. Also, she had asked Colin not too long ago whether he liked Penelope. He said that he didn't. And on top of all that, he was about to marry somebody that had disparaged them in that Lady Whistledown packet. When she found out about this, she pulled Penelope to the side and like, until he knows the real you and finds out about you being Lady Whistledown, he'll never possibly be able to truly love you. And pretty much you better tell him before I do. And she was one of the only people to question the quickness of everything to her brother. And I'm just like, of course, because you were denying her left and right. Now all of a sudden you want to marry her. Not only are you claiming her, you want to marry her. And the mom was upset about all of this as well, because she had to find out about the proposal in the paper. And also she has this long history of bad blood between her and the Bridgertons. So she is confronting Penelope like, dang, you didn't even tell me, and you're going to marry him. Has he even said I love you yet? And it's crazy. Their relationship has moved so quickly. She accepted a proposal so fast, the man hadn't even said I love you yet. I just cannot believe in this union. I can't be invested. Like, I can't root for them. Like, this is wild. So he had came over to her house and he heard everything the mama was saying, and he decided to go off on the mama and tell her about herself. And pretty much Penelope was just touched by the fact that he stood up to her mom for her. She had never had anybody have her back in that way. So she was just clouded by that. And yeah, he went ahead and said, I love you. But how we know he didn't just say that? Because he heard the mama question it. Like, I don't trust him. And then the next thing you know, she just immediately gave it up. Okay. He was showing her the house that he planned on moving into with her. And the next thing you know, they was bumping uglies. She was losing her virginity. I'm just like, and it doesn't help that they both look 12. At that point, she almost told him about Lady Whistledown, but she held back. I personally feel like she should have told him about Lady Whistledown that night he interrupted that dance with Laura Devlin, the night Laura Devlin was going to propose. She should have just went ahead and told him then, because you was already about to marry somebody else. It wouldn't have mattered. At this point, you know Eloise is getting ready to spill the beans. So she had ample opportunity to confess. The queen has been having this back and forth with Lady Whistledown and trying to find out her identity this entire time, because Penelope has been low-key poking the queen a lot in her newspaper articles. The queen decided that she was going to put out a bounty for the identity of Lady Whistledown, and that's when Penelope started getting real nervous and started breathing hard and being nervous. At their engagement party, Eloise threatened Penelope and said, at the stroke of 12, if you do not tell him about your secret newspaper, I'm going to tell him. Like, the way she be looking around, breathing, hyperventilating, having panic attacks, clearly Colin can see something is wrong, right? So he's constantly asking her, what's wrong? What do you need to tell me? Like, you keep holding something from me. What is it? During the party, everybody starts discussing who Lady Whistledown is and what are her motives and all of that. And obviously Penelope is getting overwhelmed by the entire situation. So she runs out of the room, hyperventilating, what she does best. Okay, if Penelope ain't gonna do nothing else, she gonna write a column and she gonna run out of the room breathing hard. The clock strikes 12. Penelope had every intention of confessing. Eloise was going to tell on her as well, but Cressida decided she wanted to stand up and use Lady Whistledown as her get out of jail free card. If she were to come out and say that she was Lady Whistledown, not only would she not have to marry this crusty old man, but she might not have to get married at all. As she confesses this, Penelope is just overwhelmed by it all and just passes out, just falls out right in the middle of the floor. Now, people are seriously questioning whether or not Cressida is actually Lady Whistledown, because nobody believes she's clever enough to write that column. I'm like, dang, y'all must think she's really dumb. Her mom is one of the main people questioning her. Colin doesn't really believe it. Her dad decides that he's going to send her away to live with her aunt because the man said he don't want to live with her anymore. Cressida has brought shame and embarrassment to the family, so they're sending her away. But before she could get sent away, she's summoned by the queen because, like I said, the queen has been on the hunt looking for Lady Whistledown. So she asked Cressida, why are you coming forth now? And pretty much she says she just wants the money and she wants to claim it before anyone else can. That's her story and she's sticking to it. So she said, I will only give you the reward if you give me the latest issue of the column. In the meantime, Penelope is stressing out and trying to figure out what she should write in the next column because this is like a make or break issue at this point. Eloise stops by and tells Penelope she thinks that they should keep the secret that Penelope is Lady Whistledown in order to spare her brother's feelings. And she had the nerve to say she doesn't want to stop because she doesn't want to give Cressida any of the credit. And I'm just like, I get the point they're trying to make. Women during that time didn't have a voice. And they didn't have the opportunity to write and have a column or write books or do anything other than be their husband's wife. They could not have a voice. I get that. And this is the only way Penelope could have a voice because she was so used to being invisible and being a wallflower and people not paying attention to her, and this was her way of being seen. This is her baby. She created this and she gets fulfillment from it. But I don't know, y'all, it's just, you love Colin, you've been in love with Colin this entire time. You have been looking over your shoulder scared that you're going to be found out as Lady Whistledown. You lost your friendship with Penelope over this. At some point, is it worth all of that? Is gossiping that important to you? The fact that she was holding on to this was so annoying. Even just, I don't know, going radio silent for a few months. You couldn't do that? Even though you didn't have a problem with doing that when you disappeared for the summer? Like, at this point, her mother decided to put all of her attention on Penelope and embrace the fact that she's going to be marrying a Bridgerton because this is a come up for their family. And her sisters are jealous of all the attention that she's giving to Penelope because her mother had impressed upon them, y'all need to have a baby because we need an heir. And so now that both of her sisters are pregnant, she's not even paying attention to them. And so they're feeling some type of way about that. They're giving Penelope the cold shoulder because of it. Next thing you know, at the next ball, Cressida pulls a stunt and pretty much announces that next issue of Lady Whistledown's column is going to be dropping the next day. Penelope had another heart attack, child, whenever that happened, because she just cannot stand the fact that anyone else is getting credit for her work. Her and Eloise are losing their mind, and I don't understand why Eloise is so distraught and feeling responsible for Cressida doing this, but she's losing her mind. And Penelope said, well, I'm going to save the day because I'm going to write a column basically is going to discount whatever fake column that Cressida is going to put out. Once again, I don't understand why they're freaking out. Why not just let her take the credit if you're so nervous of people finding out? But like I said, she just can't stand the fact that Cressida of all people will be the one taking credit. So she wrote a column really quick, rushed it to the printer herself, and ended up getting caught red-handed by Colin. When Colin caught her, he was so mad. He said he would never forgive her. He already had a bone to pick with Lady Whistledown. So even though this was a huge moment of the season, that fell flat too. This was like a huge reveal. I just expected Colin to cuss her out. Like, I expected Colin to go off. I expected Colin to lose his mind. And yeah, he was upset, but it was so uneventful. So the next day, Penelope dropped her version. Cressida dropped her version of the column, and Cressida's was easily spotted as the fake. And so her dad once again put his foot down and said that you're gonna get sent away. You really getting sent away now, okay? You ain't even the real Lady Whistledown. Colin was upset that he found out the way that he did, and so he confronted Eloise, and Eloise told him, yeah, I knew. And she pretty much told him that when she first found out, she was just so hurt by it that she just, didn't want to talk about it. And then when she found out that Penelope was engaged to him, she begged Penelope to tell him. And finally, when she decided not to tell him, she just didn't want to break his heart because he was so in love with Penelope. She asked him, like, do you think you can forgive her? And he didn't even answer. He's like, consider yourself lucky that you've never been in love. I'm like, dang, is that a backhanded compliment? Like, why you say it like that? But he said he still plans to marry Penelope since he took her virginity. At least he had that much character, because he could have easily exposed her and had her banished, but I guess he does have some sort of love for her. He still wanted to marry her. Asked her, well, would she stop publishing? And she said she doesn't know. And he was like, well, I'm sleeping on the couch then. I can't get behind it. They're on the outs with each other and other people can notice. And she still continues to write the column. She is scurrying at nighttime trying to take her stuff to the publisher. He caught her out once again, and he told her, like, do you realize the damage you're doing by spreading all this gossip? You've hurt my family, you've hurt your family. How do you feel about what you did to Eloise? She told him she was trying to protect Eloise whenever she wrote what she wrote about her. And he was like, well, what about what you wrote about me? You called me fake, pretty much. And she was like, I wrote that because I wanted to see the real you and not this facade that you came home with. He was like, well, you're a different person now. You have found your confidence and you are walking around with your head held high. You don't need Lady Whistledown anymore. You're no longer the wallflower. And he was like, you don't have to do this anymore. And she was like, well, I didn't say all that. She is not trying to let Lady Whistledown go by any means necessary. But I guess that was good enough for him, and they start making out. Y'all, their relationship makes no sense to me at all. Nothing has added up since he proposed. Next thing you know, it's their wedding. And I will say, she looked beautiful. Her dress was pretty. The wedding was nice enough, but it held no weight. Okay, it was very uneventful. I'm not invested in their relationship. Therefore, the wedding, the vows or anything, it just, none of it hits. The thing I did like about their wedding is when they started dancing out of nowhere and they were playing like the orchestra version of You Belong With Me. That was beautiful. That was cute. I like that. I did like that. But outside of that, nothing eventful happened until the queen came in. That queen busted in the room and cleared everybody. She said everybody need to leave the room except for the Bridgertons. She said she knew it was a Bridgerton because Lady Whistledown rushed to defend the Bridgertons after lies were told on them. Francesca stepped forward and confessed that she and Killmonger were about to get married, and the queen was like, I am not even talking about y'all. I already knew about that and I don't even care. Nobody stepped forward, so the queen basically threatened them and left. Once again, we going back and forth over this column. I'm so exhausted with it at this point. I'm so tired. I think that's why I was getting annoyed by the episode too, because it's like I'm so tired of them going back and forth over this column. Either she gonna say it was her or she's not, but I'm just so tired of it. He's begging her to let it go, and she's constantly giving this 18th century feminist speech about how it empowers her and how she just doesn't want to let it go. And so they just keep wrestling back and forth about it. And I just feel like to a certain degree, it's just unfair for her to just want him to accept that, especially since it's still fresh. So they are at odds about it. They can't even enjoy their honeymoon. Meanwhile, Cressida is over here playing Inspector Gadget and found out that it was actually Penelope that is Lady Whistledown. She went to Penelope and told her, either you give me double what the queen is offering to be exposed, or I'm going to go to the queen with it. Penelope had to end up telling her mom that she was in fact Lady Whistledown. The mother told her not to tell Colin about the blackmail because he was just going to annul the marriage. And obviously Penelope ran straight to him because she had kept enough from him that she's learned from that by now. She also confessed that she has more than enough money to pay what it is that Cressida wanted. And everybody's like, what? You make that much from Lady Whistledown? Is that the real reason you didn't want to end it? Because you like that coin? Now, I almost can't be mad at you, but you can't be mad if you lose that man because of it. He goes by Cressida's house, pleading to her to give grace to Penelope, and it did not work. And now she wants double. Plus, she wants the collar. And he just made it 10 times worse. Everything that happened towards the end of this season is kind of a blur for me. Penelope ends up paying for the tacky ball for her sisters. The queen crashed the ball after receiving a letter from Penelope saying that Lady Whistledown is going to expose herself. Penelope stepped up, revealed herself. She gave this speech that was supposed to be powerful, child, but was a huge letdown. She talked about how she wrote this gossip in order to feel connected to people and how she felt invisible and was a wallflower and she wanted to feel some sort of power. She thanks the queen for forcing her out of the shadows and making her have to write more responsibly now. The queen, after Lady Danbury spoke in her ear earlier that day, gave her grace and left and actually endorsed her writing. And they released the butterflies and it's all good. Like, y'all, wasn't nobody upset. Mother Bridgerton wasn't upset that, come to find out, Penelope, her new daughter-in-law, had been writing all this nasty stuff about her family. Nobody went off on her. Everybody just danced like nothing had ever happened. And then they slipped in at the very end. Not only did the sisters have their baby, but I guess Penelope had gotten pregnant around the same time, and she was the one to have the boy and the sole heir. of the mother's fortune. Like, this season wasn't good enough for y'all to be taking a 2-year hiatus after this. And so now Penelope is just going to be writing under her name now. Nobody's going to care that she said all these nasty things before. I thought the whole allure of her column was the anonymity and being able to say everybody's tea without having to be persecuted for it. And this is not going to make any of the Bridgertons outcasts or the Featheringtons. Come on now. None of this is making sense. It's not adding up. It's not a good ending. I'm disgusted by it, low-key. I most likely won't be watching next season. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this review down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in my next one. Peace.